The criminal justice system was built to uphold the social contract and simultaneously deter criminals from doing what they might be prone to do. Sounds fairly straightforward, but the system is complicated. And so are the people's lives involved in it. Newsy has partnered with the Marshall Project to bring you a series of stories called We Are Witnesses about the criminal justice system and how it impacts everyday Americans and workers. Tonight, we hear from a judge who talks about his caseload and pressure of handing down sentences.
The system is overwhelmed. You could easily have on your calendar as many as 120 cases to be heard in an 8-hour span. You hear the district attorney make their pitch, you hear the defense attorney make their pitch, and then within literally a minute, you basically have to make up your mind so that you can move on to the next case. My name is Eduardo Padró. I've been a sitting judge for the past 22 years. There are the easy cases where you're going to release where people are arrested on minor things or they're well-rooted, they've got family in the audience. At the other end, you've got people with homicides, which is very easy. And then you have probably the bulk of the cases where you kind of have to listen attentively and put your experience to work in terms of making that call. The reality is, nobody wants to end up in front of the newspapers being lambasted as an idiotic judge, a judge who doesn't know what on earth they're doing, especially when you've just had probably some young law school graduate or defense attorney saying this person may be dangerous or is dangerous, and based on whatever the decisions you decide to release that individual. There was one case with a guy in his late 20s, and he comes in on a drug charge. Normally, you would just plead it out and move on. I looked at his record and I said, can I ask you a question? You've got a job. All of a sudden, I see all these arrests in the last 2-3 years. Did something happen in your life? It was his mother had died. And rather than do grieving and a bereavement and everything else, he turned to the drugs. On another court date, his older brother, who was in his 40s, came to court to thank me for having gone through to his brother. And he says, don't worry, Judge. He's living with me now. I got this. That's the saintly part of the conversation. I am human. And yes, I must say, it is nice to wear the robe. Psychologically, for you to be the one that has the final say and say the buck stops here, this is my call and I'm making it, to be entrusted with that level of power, it was a good feeling to sit there, kind of on the throne. I'd be a liar to say otherwise.